I wondered if they would, again, still try to build around a huge talent in the WNBA who's a huge star, one of the most popular players in the league, regardless of what you think about um, her play. I think this is great for Angel Reese. I think this is fantastic for Atlanta. For visibility. I meant it when I said Atlanta's going to be lit, not just on the court, but off the court. They do a great job at the Gateway Center of selling out tickets, but like they're going to be able to move games to State Farm Arena where the Hawks play now because of the Angel Reese effect.
What? Excuse me? Let me make sure I'm understanding you correctly. Elle Duncan, the so-called face of sports coverage at Netflix, the same Netflix who is rapidly figuring out why ESPN was so eager to get Elle Duncan off their TV. According to the face of Netflix, Angel Reese is a huge star. Something called the Angel Reese effect, which no one's ever heard of besides Elle Duncan. This mysterious effect, it is going to cause the Atlanta Dreamers to move home games out of the Gateway Center, which is primarily used to build computers when the unknowns in the WNBA aren't using the building to pretend to play basketball. The popularity of Angel Reese, the demand to see Angel Reese miss layups is so strong. The WNBA will be moving games out of the Gateway Center and into an actual NBA arena? Elle Duncan expects Uncle KC to believe that? Let me ask you something. The last 2 years, Angel Reese played for the Chicago Bravado, right? In terms of professional sports, even semi-professional sports like the WNBA, Chicago is a significantly better sports town when compared to Atlanta. In her 2 years with the Bravado, how many games were moved out of the Wintrust Arena, which is about the size of a local civic center in Wichita, Kansas? How many games were moved out of the Wintrust Arena into the house that Michael Jordan built called the United Center because of this so-called Angel Reese effect? I'm not talking about games that were moved because the Bravado were playing Caitlin Clark. How many games were moved into an NBA arena because of the increased demand to see me-bounds? According to my calculations, none. Hell, there were a lot of games in Chicago where there were more people capable of breathing on the court than there were in the bleachers. For the 3rd year in a row, the mainstream media is trying to convince us that Angel Reese is a mainstream draw. But Uncle KC doesn't look at their words, especially when the narrative is coming from Elle Duncan. Uncle KC prefers to look at their actions. Yesterday afternoon, the WNBA released their national TV schedule for the regular season. There seems to be a lot of confusion as to how this schedule is determined. The diva of Dump Divas, Kat Engelbert, she does not tell the networks which games they're going to be broadcasting. Networks like CBS, NBC, ABC, ESPN, they make the decision as to which teams will be featured on their respective networks. And yesterday, they sent a very clear message to Angel Reese. You are not a star. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Let's go and get to the sponsor for today's video, my good friends at Sugar Mountain Trading. My uncle called me around Thanksgiving. He's a military veteran, served in the Gulf War in the early 90s, but as he's gotten older, been dealing with various health-related issues. Doctors had him on pain management, had him taking all this medication just to get him to sleep at night, most of which wasn't working. Once the meds wore off, he was tossing and turning all night, plus he was building up a tolerance to it. My aunt bought him some CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain Trading, wanted him to try it out just to see if it would work. My uncle applies the CBD lotion every night before he goes to bed. He is getting the best sleep that he has gotten in years. Doesn't even take the pain medication anymore because he doesn't need it. Over the holidays, one of my longtime viewers reached out to me telling me how the CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain Trading completely alleviated his back pain. He had been dealing with back pain for years, couldn't find anything that would work. Bought a bottle of CBD lotion from Sugar Mountain Trading. 20 or so minutes later, back pain gone. I have got countless stories from viewers, friends, family. They all tell me the same thing. They cannot believe this stuff actually works. There is a reason Sugar Mountain Trading has been with me here on the channel for 18, 19 months now. My audience keeps buying their CBD because Sugar Mountain Trading is the real deal. All CBD products offered at Sugar Mountain Trading, 100% natural, 100% free of THC. So click the link in the description of the pinned comment below. Use my promo code BTL25, BTL25. Receive 25% off your first purchase with Sugar Mountain Trading. Unsurprisingly, the networks were fighting over games featuring the Indiana Felines. If she stays healthy, and I would be willing to bet religious investors in the WNBA and even atheist investors, they are on their knees praying that Caitlin Clark remains healthy throughout this regular season. Otherwise, this dump of a league is in deep shit. If she stays healthy, Caitlin Clark will be featured on national television 44 times this season. There are only 44 games on the schedule, which means every game of the Indiana Felines will be nationally televised. I wonder why. According to the networks, the second most popular team in the WNBA, the Dallas Wankers. Paige Beckers and her girlfriend Elmer Fudd will be avoiding questions about their romantic relationship 36 times this season. Now, me personally, I don't really understand this decision. The Dallas Wankers, they were struggling to draw last season. They were struggling to sell tickets. But Uncle KC, that's because the Wankers were losing. This year, they're going to be winners. Paige Beckers is a great player, but I don't think that's the reason the Wankers will be nationally televised 36 games this season. My guess is the draw is her relationship with Azzi Fudd and the potential drama it could cause. You gotta remember, this league is reliant on dramatics. Drama is the fuel that feeds the flaming ass fire. The storylines are what's generating the mainstream interest, not the pretend basketball. Number 3 is the New York Lesbians with 35 games on national TV. Number 4, the Las Vegas Anonymous Faces with 33 games. This is outrageous! The Anonymous Faces are the defending champions. AJ Wilson is the highest paid player in the league. All of their games should be nationally televised. This is why their faces remain anonymous. They're never on my TV. Do I really need to sit here and explain why the Anonymous Faces are 4th on this list? This is the same team that struggled to sell out home games during the WNBA Finals last year when tickets were selling for less than $40. There are several other teams on the list before we get to Angel Reese and the Atlanta Dreamers. The so-called big star, the so-called face of the WNBA, doesn't come close to ranking in the top 5 in nationally televised games. Angel Reese will be featured 27 times on national television, and if you remove the games featuring Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese will be airballing layups in front of a national audience 23 times. This is unfair. My queen was just traded 2 weeks ago. The networks didn't know that she would be playing in Atlanta. If that's the case, how come the Chicago Bravado are just barely above the Dreamers on the list of nationally televised games? The message could not be any clearer. The networks, who have access to a hell of a lot more data than we do, the networks are telling you Angel Reese is not a mainstream draw. Look, I understand why the networks, along with the league itself, I understand why they're broadcasting every game featuring Caitlin Clark, but this could backfire. Caitlin Clark and the WNBA as a league is at serious risk of overexposure. Think about it. What is one of the biggest complaints right now with the NFL? Overexposure. The league is destroying its scarcity. The product is being watered down because Roger Goodell, hey, it's me, Roger G. Uncle Roger is watering the NFL product down because he wants the league on national television 7 days a week. MTV did this same thing with Jersey Shore. 2009 going into 2010, Jersey Shore was the biggest show on television. MTV was drawing 7-8 million viewers a week. At the time, the only thing capable of competing with Jersey Shore was the NFL. So what does MTV do? They start mass producing seasons. Instead of one season a year, they are producing 2 seasons every year. Instead of a 6, maybe 9-month break between seasons, MTV is airing new seasons of Jersey Shore 3 months after the previous season finale. Didn't take long for the show to be overexposed. Jersey Shore went from averaging 8 million viewers to barely eclipsing 3 million. The series finale was one of the least watched episodes in years. In the span of 2 or 3 years, Jersey Shore was completely overexposed. From mid-May to late August, the WNBA will be featured on broadcast television 74 times. Now, to put that number in perspective, Major League Baseball will have 48 games in that same time span. The NHL this season had 16 games on network television. The NBA, which is subsidizing this dump of a league. The NBA had 64 games on network TV in the last 6 months. Now, part of me understands why the WNBA is doing this. For starters, they have got to generate revenue to justify these exorbitant salaries. But they're also trying to maximize their potential. They are trying to take advantage of their momentum. But there's another side to this equation. You run the risk of people getting tired or maybe even bored with Caitlin Clark. That's what this is all about, giving Caitlin Clark maximum exposure. If you don't believe me, go look at the schedule for the WNBA Finals. Only 2 games will be broadcast on NBC. The rest will be on USA Network or the Peacock. You know, during the 1996 season, Michael Jordan was broadcast on NBC 20 times. 20 out of 82 games were on broadcast television. Now, this was his comeback season. This was at the height of his drawing power. And the most high-profile athlete of my lifetime was on broadcast television 20 times in 6 months. Caitlin Clark, 44. Now, obviously, some of those games will be on ION or USA Network, but you get the point. The more you have of something, the less valuable it becomes. Must-see TV becomes, I can watch the same thing 2 days later. Now, I could be wrong. This could work out great for Caitlin Clark and the WNBA, but there is no denying the fact Caitlin Clark and the league itself is at risk of being overexposed. Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later.